Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you tips on how to elongate your models in photos. Today's model is Kali. She's 5'4", and I personally love shooting with girls that are shorter. I see nothing wrong with it and I think it looks great. However, I know a lot of people always try to look taller and they are not sure how to go about it. So I just want to show you a few tips that I do that help me elongate my subject and so on. So if you want to stick around, make sure you click the like and subscribe button to not miss any of my future videos, and let's get right into it. Psst, you all know what's coming. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in platform that will help you make your dream website, portfolio, or an online shop become a reality. Squarespace has hundreds of beautiful templates, so you will definitely find something that suits you and your personal style. You can build a professional portfolio website in a matter of hours, and you will be able to customize it every step of the way, so it's so you that nobody can deny it's not. As we all know, social media presence is power, and with Squarespace, you'll be able to auto-post all your content to Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr with proper tags and descriptions. Finally, Squarespace helps you with the marketing. They help you with SEO, as well as some plugins for Instagram stories and so on, as well as share buttons, so your followers can give you some juicy shoutouts on their social media. If that sounds like something you'd like to try, make sure to go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And once you're ready to go, use my code squarespace.com/Anita to receive 10% off your first purchase. First and the most important thing is definitely camera angles. It is so important to consider where your camera is in relation to your subject to make them look as elongated as possible. So for me to achieve that, I always shoot from below. I always make sure that I'm looking up towards the model. It always elongates her legs really nicely. It makes them look so much longer and leaner, and I just really love that look. So for example, if you are shooting at more of an eye level instead of shooting below, you will see how much drastically shorter your subject looks. And that's normal. It's all down to your angles. So I always advise that you shoot from below. You obviously have to look for distortion, something that I'm going to discuss in a second. But in general, if you do want your subject to look longer, that's the first step I would try and apply. See how low I'm shooting? You see how much it elongates her legs? Because I'm shooting lower down, so it just like makes her legs way longer. Like if I was to shoot the same photo from like this position, from like, it just wouldn't be the same. It would be very distorted, but because I'm shooting from lower down, it just elongates the silhouette in like a very nice way. Second very important thing that is very overlooked in my opinion is your focal length. I think it's so important to choose your focal length wisely because it will all depend on how your model looks on photos. So for example, whenever I have a subject that looks a bit shorter, I will always aim to shoot on 24 to 35 millimeter and shooting from down below, as mentioned in the previous part, because it will elongate your model so much, it will give it the distortion it needs. When you're shooting on 24 or 28, you have to be very careful because there is going to be quite a lot of distortion. So you do want to make sure that you're shooting from below with her legs closest to the camera, because otherwise it is going to look very lopsided and weird. That's something that you'll definitely have to play around with. But in general, choosing 24 to 35 is definitely the best if you want to shoot and elongate the model's legs. If you don't have the option of 24 to 35 and you are shooting on something longer like 70 or 80, I would advise that you shoot mostly half bodies because it's going to definitely make the subject look better. In that sense, you're not going to be showing the full legs, so you can still make her look relatively long, but I would probably just go with that then. Next thing that is super important for me is her leg placement and posing, of course. I find it super important to always place the legs as close to the camera bottom as possible. This way it really elongates them and makes her look much leaner, and the top of the body looks a bit smaller, but it creates like a really nice distortion. So all of the time I'll get my model to cross her legs and have one foot in front of the camera more than the other. And can you like lean your butt against this and just kind of like elongate your legs like in front of me, like one in front of the other maybe? So you don't have to be, you can be standing and just like put one leg in front of the other. Yeah, yes, perfect. Gorgeous. Yes, love that. Another pose that I will go for is laying down pose. As you see here, we had this nice slanted roof, so I went for some nice spread out poses. Her legs were pretty elongated, they were nice and straight-ish, but we still wanted to preserve some angles just so it looks a bit more interesting. I also got her to put her hands above her head because it created even more length. Again, I was shooting from lower down and at focal length of 24 to 28, and this way we created so much beautiful distortion that made her look super long and lean. Another pose that you can do is to get her to stand on a ledge, for example, and have her wave her legs in front of you. It always helps as it creates a lot of movement and it makes the shot a bit more dynamic and interesting, as well as elongating her limbs. Finally, if you are in a situation where you don't have a lower focal length and you don't really know what to do, I think a great idea is to put your subject somewhere higher up on the ground. So like here, we had her on the little ledge, and it always helps because then you can shoot from below on a higher focal length and still achieve nice and elongated results. It's not going to be nearly as dramatic as shooting with the 24, but it's definitely worth trying and playing around with. I think the more space you have around her as well helps because it makes her look very nice and long. However, in general, I just advise that you play around and see what works, but these are my top tips. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these little tips with me. Let me know what you think and if you have any tips of your own. Before we sign off, make sure to check out Callie. She's going to be linked in the description, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. Click the little bell button to not miss any of my future uploads, and I will see you next time.